Why can't we?
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, there you are. Welcome to another episode of Locked On A's. Thought you lost me there, didn't you? I'm Wayne Coy. I'm your host, longtime Oakland A's fan, like lifetime, and longtime resident of the East Bay. From Oakland originally, moved to San Leandro and spent a bunch of years waking up the Bay Area on the radio, and now happy to be here every day with Locked On A's, talking about our favorite baseball team. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. We do appreciate that. Of course, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, available wherever you can find a podcast and on YouTube as well. And today would be one of those days where I think I was wishing we weren't on YouTube. I'll tell you why in just a minute. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, getting ready for the big game, the biggest of games, of course. It'll be the Niners taking on the Chiefs. You want to get involved, you want to have some fun with the game, well, you can. Check them out. It is FanDuel.com/LockedOn for all the details, and I'll tell you more coming up. So, again, back to this whole video thing. So, last night, I worked all night long on I can't say the name of it, but television show. It's on a certain network that you pay for. That's it. That's all they'll let me say. We worked all night long and kept doing the same scene over and over and over and over. And as Marshawn would say, and over and over. And we did. And we got done and it was all wrapped up. Everybody was in a pretty good mood. And I went to leave to go get on the bus to go back to the casino across the street. We were filming at Caesar's Palace, but we were on our way back to Flamingo. And I got into a fight with a big glass door. And I lost, as you can you see that? Yeah. Not too bad. No stitches necessary, but the beginnings of a fat lip here, a little swelling, which my wife, Nancy, was quick to say, hey, well, now you at least have some lips. She likes to give me a hard time about my thin lips. Anyway, while I was getting my butt kicked by a glass door, we were all chanting, sell the team, and doggone it, they paid attention. They sold the team. Except for they is the Baltimore Orioles, not the Oakland A's. Oh, well. The Orioles actually did do it, selling the team. The Angelos family, majority owners of that team for a long, long time. Peter Angelos, of course, agreeing to sell a controlling stake in the Orioles to Baltimore native, philanthropist, and all-around good guy investor, David Rubenstein. Here's a price for you. Ready? I can almost not say this with a straight face, but here it is, $1.725 billion. That's with a B. Okay, Angelo's family, of course, going to continue to hold their sizable investment in the Orioles. That would be Peter, of course, the senior, and then John, who's been kind of running the team, senior advisor to the organization, Peter's son. Mr. Rubenstein, co-founder and co-chairman of the Carlyle Group. He has other investors along with him, big money folks with big money firms that you would know from New York. But along with them is a name you definitely know, Cal Ripken Jr., Orioles great, and MLB Hall of Famer, of course, Kurt Schmoke, who is the former mayor of the city of Baltimore. What a great name, huh? Schmokin. He's an investor. So is Grant Hill. His dad, of course, Calvin Hill, NBA Hall of Famer. Mike Bloomberg, entrepreneur, philanthropist, Michelle Kang, business leader, and a bunch of other investors, all getting together. I know, a local group getting together to keep their team in their city. It's unheard of, isn't it? John Angelo says, when I took on the role of chair and CEO of the Orioles, we had the objective of restoring the franchise to elite status in Major League sports. He didn't say we also had the objective of taking our $100 and some million investment and turning it into a $1.7 billion. He didn't say that part. But, it's there. You can read between the lines. And you know what you can do also is maybe draw some parallels, because like the Oakland A's, the Orioles, very young team full of talent that is just now starting to come to the top. And I would say that with the A's, there may be a couple of years still behind that curve. But it was, the story was keep the payroll low and build up the talent. And once you get them, sign them and keep them. So that's the template that they're going to follow. Jackson Holliday, of course, #1 prospect in all of baseball, and duly noted, a member of Wayne Coy's fantasy baseball team. Yep, I got Jackson Holliday. We're in a dynasty league. Snatched him early. Adley Rutschman, who I did have and I turned, he was ranked #1 in the 2022 draft. Anyway, they got 5 of the top 32 rated prospects in the game, so they're only going to probably get better. In 2023, they won the American League East, first of all, but they also won 100 games. Hadn't done that since 1979. They won 101, actually, last season. Angelo's family going to remain major investors, but not the principal owners. That would be Mr. Rubenstein, who says, I am grateful to the Angelos family for the opportunity to join the team that I have been a fan of for my entire life. Imagine that. The guy who owns the team is actually a fan of the team, not the team across the way. So anyway, Camden Yards is, of course, where they're going to play. They've got a new 15-year deal there. And this guy's done a lot in terms of philanthropy. I mean, if you got money, it's kind of cool to see you using it for good stuff, like, for example, repairing the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Kennedy Center. He's put his money there. He's also provided to the U.S. government long-term loans of his, underline that word, his copies of the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Emancipation I could say that if my lips weren't all messed up. Emancipation Proclamation, there we go. 13th Amendment, and the first map of the United States ever drawn up. Ever. It's called the Buell map. It's pretty cool. First book printed in the U.S. He's got all that stuff, and he's been known to loan it out to the government whenever it's needed. Cal Ripken Jr. says he's excited to be part of the Orioles organization. Thanks, David, for including him in the ownership group. I'm sure he does. David stopped by saying that he can't say much more because the MLB still has to review the deal and vote on it, but he did say that he will communicate more publicly when it's possible. And he ended his conversation yesterday by saying, go Orioles. What else are you going to say? I know Joan Jett's a big fan too, right, of the Baltimore Orioles, as is Greg Kinn. I remember. I gotta tell you, I'm not going to lie here. Baltimore, I am really jealous of you. I can't imagine the feeling to just know that, ownership that's been is going to exit stage left with a big profit. Okay, fine. But after that, the team's going to be owned by somebody who really does care about it and is going to keep them in that community. Yeah, I'm more than a little bit jealous. NFL regular season and the playoffs. Yes, they are history. Forget about it. Now it's all about the big game. Of course, that's happening in Las Vegas. Niners and the Chiefs, you want to get involved? Well, you can in the best way possible with our friends at FanDuel. Download the app. It's easy. And then start having some fun. And don't forget, right now, $5 bet could get you $150 in bonus bets from FanDuel if you're a brand new customer. So do that. $150 in bonus bets. What are you going to do with it? For the big game, you got all those really cool prop bets that you can bet on. You've got parlays, of course. You can do the overs, the unders, the point spreads. Just get crazy with it and have some fun. FanDuel.com/lockedon, and you can get all the details there. Make your first bet a touchdown with our friends at FanDuel, official partner of the National Football League. Well, the Orioles did announce yesterday that they are selling the team, the Angelos family, selling them off to a local Baltimore ownership, which is really, really cool. And now the owners will be meeting. They're getting together in Orlando. Conveniently, it's next week. Yeah. So they're going to have a vote. And I remember the last time the owners voted. Seems like forever ago, but it really wasn't. It was back in December. And they got together to vote on whether or not the A's should be allowed to relocate to Las Vegas. Needless to say, I had all kinds of opinions about that, and I still do. But I did catch up with Cofield and Company right after it happened, they reached out and wanted to know if we could talk, and we sure did on ESPN Las Vegas. Here's a little retro throwdown, a Locked On A's replay for you.
Big day for Vegas. Major League Sports in the form of MLB is most likely coming to Las Vegas. It is a heartbreaking day for Oakland. I don't think there's any turning back now. The last chance to block this thing was some plucky owners saying, no, we're not letting you move without a relocation fee, but that didn't happen. Wayne Coy covers this stuff pretty much every day. Locked On A's podcast. I commend you for covering this organization. It's been really frustrating for years now. So how are you feeling today?
Oh, pretty good. Therapy is usually at about 5 o'clock, so I'll be on time for my appointment again today, like always, Steve.
All right. Well, how do you think Oakland is feeling? I know you're joking around a little bit there. This feels like the end.
Kicked in the ball. That's the answer.
Yep.
Kicked right in the gonads. That's how we feel today.
So why did this happen?
Because we have the absolute worst owner in the history of sports, and he's proven that now for about 15 years. And it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. And the fans finally said, look, you know, it's sort of like being in a abusive relationship when somebody keeps threatening to hit you. In this case, threatening to move the team. You hear that all the time, and then you strip the team down to the studs where there's nothing left on the field to be excited about. You double season ticket prices. Basically, where you end up is where we are right now with an owner saying, well, see, nobody came and supported the team, so I guess we need to go someplace else. And we already know what happened with the legislature here in Nevada. They basically rammed this thing through without any sort of vetting process whatsoever. And today was no exception, Steve. The owners did the same thing. In fact, there were 6 or 7 owners that were literally discussing a no vote. Unfortunately, the leader of that group passed away on Tuesday. He was the owner of the San Diego Padres. But what really happened was the commissioner rallied the troops and said, look, we've got the absolute worst PR campaign ever, potentially going into a brand new market that our league has ever endured. I need everybody in this room to promise that they're going to be on the same page. So that's why you got a unanimous vote, because as you know, nothing in this world is unanimous. Okay. It's ridiculous that all 30 of them would be in lockstep, but they have to be, because what else are you going to do at this point? They've pretty much worn out their welcome in Oakland. Fisher needs to sell the team. He's not going to do that. And now here in Las Vegas, we all get to endure what I had to endure the entire time I lived in the Bay Area, which is absolute inept ownership. This guy's an idiot, and you're going to find it out in short order. And I'll be surprised if the stadium gets built like we all think it's going to get built, where it's supposed to get built.
Yep.
And the other thing is, you mentioned no, that everything's pretty much a foregone conclusion, but don't forget, and this is important, this vote for the stadium funds of $380 million in public funding, that did not come from the public. It came from the legislature, who did it without asking the public what they thought. At that time, if you recall, Steve, the sentiment was running at about 80% against, in terms of, use that money for education. Lord knows we need it. Instead, this thing just got pushed through from the governor. And now what this group is trying to do, and I'm talking about schools over stadiums, the teachers union, they want to get this thing on the ballot in November of 2024. And that's the goal. And if that happens and the public does get an opportunity to vote, I'll tell you right now, I'll bet you everything I've got that this thing fails in a general election. It'll happen. And then when that happens, Mr. Fisher's going to have to figure out how to cover almost $400 million that he definitely doesn't have. He's billionaire broke as it is.
Wayne Coy with us, Locked On A's podcast. So, Wayne, my question was, is there any shot that Fisher just changes and that this was all work to get it here to Las Vegas, but once they're here, winning product, here we come?
Well, part of the agreement today was a clause, and I do commend MLB's owners for putting this in. It's one thing to say all 30 of us are going to vote the same way to save face and, get back some sort of, decent goodwill within the community of sports fans. But it's another thing to cover your butt. And that's exactly what they did, because anybody who knows business knows that this is a classic pump and dump. You bring the team here, you get them established. You might even spend some money on payroll for a change. Maybe you get a decent product on the field. Fisher gets about a 5 times return on his investment immediately. And so what they did was they put in a clause saying you aren't allowed to do that. And if you do do that, then you've got to pay an exorbitant tax, which then gets divided amongst the other owners. That right there is enough. It's basically an expansion fee, for lack of a better word. It's ipso facto an insurance policy to make sure that the owners who are all holding their nose and looking at the other way because this is your stupid cousin Eddie who embarrasses you every single Thanksgiving that is now moving into Las Vegas. You live here, Steve. I live here. Who do you know that's excited about the Oakland A's? Now, I'm not talking about Major League Baseball. I'm not talking about a new stadium. I'm talking about this team in particular and all of the crap that goes with it. Nobody's excited.
Yeah, I think,
you know.
I think very casual sports fans who haven't followed the story can still be into it. But beyond that, if you follow sports, you know who the A's have been. It is a stink fest from the get-go here. Wayne Coy is with us, Locked On A's. MLB votes yes unanimously for the A's to move. I actually don't fully believe they're coming here. I'm with you. I don't fully believe that it's going to be that site. But I will tell you this. The other reason there was a unanimous vote, yes, it's cool to be in lockstep with the fish, but this is also a tremendous thing to set up for the future. Vegas and Nevada gave them a lot of money, and now every stadium situation around the country can use the Vegas deal to kind of threaten their state and local legislators and say, hey, you know what, we'll move. Look at what, hey, the city like Vegas gave up the money. Yeah. You better give it up or else.
Yeah, you're right. And as a matter of fact, this relocation committee, and I'm using air quotes. You can't see them, but I'm using them. There was 3 owners that were on this committee. 2 of the 3 were basically putting a gun to the head of their communities to try to get either, in the case of Kansas City, a brand new stadium, or Milwaukee. The man who ran the relocation committee, as you know, just got his bag about $500 million worth. So what do you think they thought? I mean, obviously they all have in the back of their mind, well, what if I want to do this someday? Even though John Fisher's an idiot, I need to kind of maybe think about my future. And what if I decide I want to hold up my community for more money and better luxury boxes, et cetera, and so on? That's also in the back. So you're absolutely right. That's in the back of their minds. What I love is that the fan base in Oakland is not going to be quiet. They haven't been quiet since Jump Street. They're not going to shut up now. And you watch next year, they've already said opening day, they're all coming, but they're not coming into the stadium. They're going to stay in the parking lot, have the world's largest tailgate party, and 100% boycott that game. They want those seats to be completely empty on opening day. That's the first salvo shot. There's more to come, believe me.
And you do believe they will play next year in Oakland?
Yeah, I think they have a lease, so they pretty much have to. But after that, as you heard, it's your same crazy cousin who doesn't have a place to live, and he needs like 2 weeks on your couch and 3 weeks on mine. And that's the way the A's are going to be in 2025, 26, and 27. That's if shovels hit the ground when they're supposed to. There isn't any pushback after stadiums or schools over stadiums get done with the referendum. All of that is still to come. So I'm not holding out hope that, first of all, they're going to move here. Secondly, they're going to move here and be ready to play ball by 2028, or that there's going to be a stadium where the Tropicana currently stands. I've seen this movie over and over again. Fisher gets in his own way better than anybody I've ever heard of in my life, Steve. So get ready. The You Know What show is on its way to Las Vegas.
Could Oakland get an expansion team down the road?
Sure. Rob Manfred today was asked that exact question, and what he said was, we have a lease in 2024. I certainly don't want to have a bad relationship with the city of Oakland or the mayor. And he basically left the door open for an expansion team, which would be a consolation prize. I know Mayor Tao, what she wants is to give the A's an extension, to give them the opportunity to not have to move around from place to place. She has said, we'll extend you until you need to move. But what it's going to cost you is the name, Athletics or A's. It's going to be the team colors. It's going to be every trademark, every bit of intellectual property that has to do with this team that's been in that city for 55 years. And Manfred did say that that's up to the team. And now John Fisher said today he's bringing the A's to Las Vegas. So I think at this point, it's a non-starter. But as it gets a little later in the day, I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to play some of their games in San Francisco, some of them outdoors at Las Vegas Ballpark. And and I know 118 degrees in July in an open air stadium. That's no bueno. So that's not going to happen. You know, and they've got a TV contract. Don't forget that. That means for the NBC Sports Bay Area to continue to give John Fisher that check, they've got to stay in the Bay Area. The minute they're out of the TV market, the money goes away. And believe me, they'd be happy to stop writing those checks. They overpaid.
Amazing. An amazing story. They're leaving a town that's all pissed off. They're coming to a town that doesn't really feel like welcoming the A's, but here we are.
Hey man, you know, it's not, it's the Vegas-born thing. I believe that if Las Vegas were to get either an expansion team or the A's, John Fisher's team with a new identity, new name, new unis, new everything, I think then you got a shot, because you see what's happened with the Golden Knights, and the Raiders are a different deal. That's only 8 or 9 games a year, and half the stadium's filled with fans of the other team anyway. But I want to see what a Wednesday night in Las Vegas looks like against the Pittsburgh Pirates in this stadium that they've already said they have to sell out every single game to make their nut. It ain't going to happen, Steve. It's a fairy tale.
Well, Wayne, you bring up those other franchises, though, but they do have a common thread, and it's not that they're out here in Las Vegas. It's they have owners who have been invested in those products and that have really cared and put in a lot toward winning. Like, that's not really necessarily the case here, right? Like,
right.
Vegas doesn't just heal all ills, and all of a sudden you're going to become a winner.
Right. Oh, believe me, I know that. And Mark Davis has been, I think, turned into a good citizen for the city. Obviously, he's got the Aces now as well. And you saw what he did, which he needed to do, which is make that change with the head coach. And now the team looks to be fired back up again. But again, that's football. This is baseball. And as much as Jeremy, for the record, Aguero wants you to believe that it's the same thing, it's not. And good luck with F1 this weekend, by the way.
Yeah. He's the host of Locked On A's podcast. We got about 2 minutes left. Well, I wanted to ask this one. I don't really know a whole lot about their media situation. You just mentioned the TV situation. They don't have a deal on terrestrial in the Bay Area, right? The A's?
In terms of terrestrial television?
Terrestrial radio.
Oh, radio. No, you know what? They were the first team to basically, and this turned into a whole thing. This is John Fisher and Dave Cavill, by the way. That's his marionette that he carries around with him, John Fisher.
President. Yep.
Yeah, he's the water boy. Anyway, Dave Cavill famously said, "We don't need radio," meaning terrestrial radio. And we're going to be the first team in Major League Baseball to do nothing but stream, and we're going to own it. And it's called A's Cast, and it's going to be great. Well, the response was fast and furious, because if there is a sport that lends itself to the medium that is radio or audio, whatever you want to call it, it's baseball. So in short order, they realized that they stepped in it, and they had an affiliate before the season started. And they do. Yes, they do have a flagship station, but they put most of their emphasis on their online product. And that's fine. I understand that that's the way the world's going. Look at me. I'm 40-year radio guy, and I'm podcasting now every day. Go figure.
Last couple seconds. Should we start running the A's next year at Lotus Broadcasting?
It's probably not a bad idea. Get the GM in there. More importantly, ask your sales department if they can sell it, because there's your answer right there.
We just went silent. We're not going to ask that. No. They can't. Yes. All right, Wayne, we're up against it. We appreciate it. Thank you for the information.
Stay in touch,
and, sorry,
Steve.
the Bay Area is losing the team.
It's a rough day, brother. It's like we lost a family member, but I got a feeling we're going to resuscitate him at some point. So thanks a bunch for the time, man. And I hope you'll stay in touch, because I'm going to reach out to you and ask you about some stuff that's going on here in town as we get along. So Cofield and Company, Thanks a lot, you guys.
There you go. Wayne Coy, Lock On A's.
Well, we have the hindsight of, or the benefit of hindsight now, because it's been a minute since that interview. But also, I think that might have been November. I think I said December, but when was the vote? I don't have it in front of me, but wasn't it November? I think so. Just thinking about that for a second. Also, I did say that John Fisher would get like a 5-time return on his initial investment, but if he sells the team for its value, which is what the Orioles did, I think the Orioles sold for like what, $1.7 billion, and the A's are at like $1.17 billion. So there's kind of your price if you want to price what the team is worth, which is obviously much more than 5 times return. So a good day to be John Fisher, I guess, if there ever is such a thing. Angelos and the Orioles, there was another parallel that I forgot about, where they also got government funding for their stadium. Now, Camden Yards is already built. They got money to improve the area all around Camden Yards, plus a ballpark as well, make improvements there. Ends up, with a 15-year deal, they had to commit to staying for another 15 years. So that, that's peace of mind, right? Could you imagine that? As I sit here and look at a picture of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum prior to Mount Davis's arrival, and I'm looking at the Oakland Hills and the ice plant, and yeah. So that's what you could have had. And maybe you still can in Oakland. Not going to give up. I don't see any shovels yet. Although this was a big week in that regard, in that the Tropicana did actually announce that they were going to be closing, coming up just after April Fool's there on April 2nd. So, Las Vegas, obviously super excited for the A's.
The Las Vegas A's. We like the sound of that, right, Vegas? Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there, Las Vegas? How we feeling?
Are we alive back there, Vegas? Anybody? Okay. eBay Motors wants you to know what's going on. It's passion. It's drive. It's patience. Yes. Patience, my son, my daughter. It brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors, with lots and lots of parts, everything that you need to be able to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. That's what they do, from superchargers and roof racks and exhaust kits and LED lighting. They got the whole thing for you at eBay Motors, no matter what your ride is. And I got to imagine that once you get those parts, you're going to be smiling and knowing that you got that guarantee. It's the guaranteed fit from eBay Motors. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back, because with eBay Motors, well, you're burning rubber, not cash. I didn't write that, but I read it. All the parts you need at the prices that you want. It's easy to turn your car into an MVP. Do it today with eBay Motors. Guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Have some fun with eBay Motors. And with us, by the way, we got a brand new network. I think I've told you about this before, but it's worth repeating. Locked On Sports Today. I was watching today. As I was laying there going, did I get in a fight with a glass door last night? Because I seem to remember that. Yeah. And I was listening to and sort of watching Locked On Sports Today. You can do it too. We're going to send you over there as soon as this episode is over. But hey, it's 24/7, 365. First ever streaming sports network in the world. And you can check it out. Locked On Sports Today. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever sport is in the news, it's on Locked On Sports Today. So that announcement. Plus, we got to announce the confirmation. I'm going home. I mean, not for good. I'm going home for a minute, though. February 24th, of course, is a big day. It's Fans Fest. Oakland A's fans, you can't keep them down. And here's what happens. If the team isn't willing to acknowledge its fan base, if the team isn't willing to send its players out as emissaries to create a little bit of goodwill in the community and let everybody know that you're loved and we can't wait to see you at the ballpark, if the team's not going to do that, even though they should, and even though every other major league team does, if the team isn't going to do that, well, then screw the team. The players will be there. The fans will be there, because that's how they roll in Oakland. It's Fans Fest, February 24th. It's all brought to you courtesy of the Oakland 68s and Last Dive Bar. And yeah, I'm going to be there taking it all in, recording some stuff for the show, and hanging out with former A's greats Chris Davis, Grant Balfour. He'll be there along with Mike Norris and Billy North. And maybe, my most recent former Oakland Athletic, Trevor May, who retired and then let everybody know what he thinks of John Fisher and the A's organization, which is just really cool. Jared and Gabe will be there, of course. They're going to be documenting everything that's going on. It's all part of Summer of Cell, that big movie that's coming out. We asked them, of course, what's the timeline? When's the movie coming out? Because we're all excited about that. And they're like, well, there's still so much going on. We got Fans Fest. Then we got opening day, potential boycott happening there. We've got the entire season, last season in Oakland. We got to document that. So it's an ongoing story, but we'll get the movie eventually, and they're going to be there, and looking forward to seeing those guys again. They are fun to hang out with. And so are you too. Oh, by the way, don't forget, they've got a website. So if you want to check it out, you can. It is summerofcelldocumentary.com. All the details on the movie, how you can even get involved with the film. That's all right there for you on the website. All right. Out of time for today, but even more, of course, for you tomorrow. Locked On Sports, your team every day. We do appreciate a thumbs up if you can give us a thumb. I can't see my thumb. If you give us a thumbs up, that means you like the channel and it helps us spread the channel. It's called an algorithm. And I guess it works. I guess people that haven't seen the show get to see the show. So thank you. Thanks for doing your part there. And if you subscribe, don't forget that's a cool thing to do too, because then you don't miss an episode whenever we slap another one up there. Today's was tough. I'm not going to lie. It was hard to get out of bed. My eye was throbbing, and I don't know if you can see. Can you see that? Not quite deep enough for stitches, but ran right into a door. And the thing is, we'd actually seen a lady do it at Caesar's Palace earlier while we're filming this show for HBO. And everybody laughed, including her. And then here I am getting ready to go get on the bus. Smack. But just so you know, because I'm from Oakland, I got the swagger. I kept walking all the way to the bus. I got on the bus and I kind of sat down. This guy next to me, older gentleman from New England, leans in and he goes, hey, you might want to do something about that blood. I said, what? He goes, you're dripping blood. And I was literally bleeding down my face, so thankfully the lady next to me gave me a little bit of a napkin and I was able to apply some pressure and stop it. I go, so you saw that, huh? He goes, saw it. I was right behind you. He goes, I'm surprised you didn't go down on the ground, but you're too proud to do that, huh? Yep, he figured it out because he's from Boston. We're kind of wired the same way. I wasn't going to let anybody see it. I'm not going to rub my arm after you hit me with a pitch. Heck no. Anyway, we'll be fine. Thanks for being here. Appreciate every single second of that. Don't forget that. Know that I love that you come here every day. I really, really do. Comment section is there for you. Use it. I'd love to have a little convo with you. We'll go a little back and forth if you want. That's cool. And if you're an everydayer, of course, let us know that you're here every day. That's kind of cool too. All right. Till the next time we get together, I'm Wayne Coy. You take care of yourself, unlike me, and keep on swinging.